Fueled by rejection and evil anger, a social outcast committed one of the most heinous crimes in Japan's history. A gasoline can, a team of creative young souls, and a spark that changed the destiny of so many families forever. Stay with us as we explore the gruesome events, the intense investigation, as well as the psychological factors that trigger this tragedy. Nestled in the heart of Japan, Kyoto Animation, affectionately known as KyoAni, emerged as a beacon of creativity and excellence in the anime industry. Established in 1981, Kyoto Animation's journey from a small company to an industry titan is a proof to its commitment to excellence and its unique approach to anime production. Unlike many of its contemporaries, KyoAni invested heavily in nurturing talent, often training animators in-house and promoting a culture of respect and creativity that was reflected in every frame of their work. The studio's portfolio reads like a love letter to the art of animation, with titles such as The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, K-On!, Clannad, and Violet Evergarden, not only winning critical acclaim, but also securing a special place in the hearts of fans. Each series, with its rich narratives and beautifully crafted visuals, showcase KyoAni's ability to explore complex themes of love, loss, and the human condition, earning the studio numerous awards. As Kyoto Animation continued to grow, it expanded its operations beyond animation production to include the publishing division, the Kyoto Animation Award, aimed at discovering new literary talent. This initiative underscored the studio's dedication to storytelling in all of its forms and provided a platform for new voices to be heard in the anime community. But in every competition lingers a sense of injustice that runs deep for those who don't accept rejection. Meanwhile, in the suburb of Tokyo lived a 41-year-old man who was also into animes, even a creator himself. But his dark side is what stuck out the most. Shinji Aoba had been to prison for robbing a convenience store with a kitchen knife back in 2012. His neighbors feared him as he often verbally and physically abused them. He lived like an outcast and was losing touch with reality day after day. Sometimes, worlds collide and people who don't know each other cross paths in the most unfortunate way. On the morning of July 18, 2019, at approximately 10:30 a.m., an individual entered Kyoto Animation Studio No. 1, located in the Fushimi ward of Kyoto. What followed was an act of unimaginable horror that shook the foundations of the anime world. Carrying approximately 40 liters of gasoline, the perpetrator entered the premises of the studio. In a matter of moments, he began to douse the area around the entrance and several employees with gasoline. Without hesitation, he ignited the fuel, setting off a ferocious blaze that engulfed the building as he was reported shouting, "Die! Die!" The fire quickly spread, trapping many inside and creating a scene of chaos and despair. As flames tore through the studio, emergency services rushed to the scene. Despite their efforts, the tragedy's scale became apparent, with 36 people losing their lives and nearly 34 others sustaining injuries, some of them severe. The physical space of Studio One, once a hub of creativity, was left in ruins. The man responsible for this horrific attack was Shinji Aoba. After setting himself on fire while lighting the fuel and suffering from severe burns, he had tried to flee, but was apprehended by police very close to the scene. The Kyoto Animation Arson attack remains one of the deadliest massacres in Japan since the end of World War II and the deadliest building fire since the 2001 Myojo 56 building fire in Tokyo. In the wake of the arson attack on Kyoto Animation Studio 1, a comprehensive investigation was launched to bring Aoba to justice and to understand the motivations behind this heinous act. His arrest was not immediate. Due to the extent of his injuries, Aoba spent several months in recovery before he could be formally detained and questioned by police. Investigators sought to piece together Aoba's movement leading up to the attack, his background, and any possible motives. Early on, it became apparent that Aoba harbored a grudge against Kyoto Animation, accusing the studio of plagiarizing a novel he claimed to have submitted to them. This accusation, despite lacking substantiation, was believed to be the primary motive behind his decision to target the studio so violently. As Aoba's physical condition stabilized, he was officially arrested and charged with multiple crimes, including murder, attempted murder, and arson on May 27, 2020. The prosecution sought the death penalty, arguing that the premeditated nature of the attack and its devastating consequences. Disclaimer: the following points are only speculations and do not reflect a professional psychological analysis. While these psychological factors provide some context, they do not excuse or justify criminal behavior. Reports suggest that Aoba was facing financial difficulties and was out of work at the time of the attack. His precarious economic situation and the stress associated with unemployment might have exacerbated his grievances against Kyoto Animation, leading him to perceive the company as a target for his frustration. While the court concluded that Aoba was mentally fit to stand trial and bear responsibility for his actions, the defense argued that he had a mental disorder that impaired his ability to distinguish right from wrong. The complexity of his psychological state, including any disorders or dysfunctions, plays into the broader context of his motivations and actions, knowing he was abusive to his neighbors. The premeditation of the attack and Aoba's actions indicate a desire for revenge against Kyoto Animation. His study of past criminal cases involving arson, as reported, shows an intent to cause significant harm as a form of retribution to the perceived wrongs against him. Although not explicitly detailed in reports, individuals who commit such acts can often experience feelings of social isolation or alienation. This factor, combined with his other grievances, may have contributed to Aoba's radical decision to launch the attack. Throughout the trial, the defense presented arguments that Aoba might have been suffering from a psychiatric disorder that impaired his judgment and understanding of right and wrong. However, after careful consideration of the evidence and expert testimonies, the court concluded that Aoba was mentally competent at the time of the attack and fully responsible for his actions. Aoba eventually pled guilty to the charges on September 5, 2023. On January 25, 2024, the Kyoto District Court delivered its verdict. Shinji Aoba was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to death, a decision that underscored the gravity of his crimes. The court's ruling brought a sense of closure to some, but for many, the pain and loss inflicted by the attack could never be fully comprehended. This case is extremely hard to fathom. The fact that you can cross paths with an individual who can end your life in an instant. The fact that these dedicated employees were doing their work passionately, trying to be the best at what they did, only to have their life ended by one frustrated, deranged individual. Also, the fact that he couldn't be stopped the way a criminal brandishing a knife, for example, could have. Once he poured that gasoline, he sealed the fate of everyone present in the building. The aftermath of the Kyoto Animation arson attack was a period of profound grief and mourning, not only for the victims' families and friends, but for the entire global anime community. In the days and weeks following the attack, an outpouring of support emerged from all corners of the globe. Fans, fellow creators, and industry professionals sent messages of condolences, solidarity, and financial contributions to aid the victims and the studio. Over 3.3 billion Japanese yen, $30 million were raised in Japan to help the studio and its employees recover. The memory of the arson attack will forever be a part of the Kyoto Animation's history. All of our thoughts and prayers go to the victims' families. What do you make of this case? Can you fathom that someone might get triggered so badly he could commit such an unspeakable act? Thank you for joining us today on Casual Evil. Remember, you always pay for your crimes, one way or the other.